Bill, how do people initiate or maintain their recovery?
We have found significant differences in the level of help seeking that's involved in recovery initiation. The first of these is what we've called solo recovery. It also goes by names like natural recovery, spontaneous recovery or spontaneous change, auto remission. These are simply individuals who have developed severe alcohol and other drug problems, who then initiate recovery and maintain that recovery without significant resources outside themselves. We also note that the style of problem resolution here changes as problem severity increases. Solo recovery is probably actually the largest category of recovery initiation, but it tends to cluster in the lower to moderate problem severity range and with people who have substantial recovery capital, both at a personal, family, and community level. We also, as problem severity increases, we'll see an increased number of people who will reach out to other people in recovery to initiate and maintain their recovery. And of course, the classic examples we see with this are people who utilize the secular, spiritual, and religious recovery mutual aid groups as an ongoing source of support for recovery initiation and maintenance. And then we have a category of professional assistance. And that category goes from everything from people who may use the casual support of their primary care physician or the support of their clergy, or it may be people who are in counseling for marital problems or other problems, who may initiate recovery and develop an awareness of the need for recovery within the context of these more general helping resources. And then as problem severity increases, we increase the likelihood that individuals are going to end up in the categorically segregated special care addiction treatment system in the United States. And these are individuals who will participate in a wide variety of modalities over time, from outpatient and inpatient, from psychosocial models to medication-assisted treatment and recovery support services. So in terms of varieties or pathways, we see a high degree of diversity in terms of the types of services needed and the quantity and duration of those services needed to initiate and maintain recovery. Again, primarily across the categories of problem severity and differences in recovery capital that people bring.
Bill, there seem to be some trends now in face-to-face and virtual recovery support. Any thoughts about that?
I'm glad you asked that, Phil, because if there's a single shift that's underway right now, particularly in the peer assistance framework that's now moving into the professional assistance, it's this migration to what we're beginning to call virtual recovery. And this is the application of a whole range of new technologies to help people initiate and sustain recovery. I think we may see in some of your lifetimes a point where there are more people who participate in online recovery mutual aid support resources than are participating in face-to-face recovery mutual aid meetings. I think early on we thought, as Ernie and I began to study those, we thought that we would find that internet support groups would be an adjunct to face-to-face meetings. What we found to our surprise was a large number of people who were using those meetings to the exclusion of face-to-face meetings. We also found that the internet-based meetings were reaching new populations of individuals who weren't being well integrated into some of the face-to-face meetings. We found persons with disabilities were very attracted and obviously found those very accessible. We found youth very much drawn to recovery support meetings. We found people in remote and rural areas who didn't have access to face-to-face meetings increasingly participating in those meetings. We also found a very high percentage of online recovery support attracting women, and many women who would not feel particularly safe or comfortable going into a face-to-face meeting format. So I think there's going to be a wave of the future of a whole new level of recovery support that is really based on all of the new technologies of communication that we now have available to us.